Hello and welcome to this on-campus recruiting orientation presented by the Stony Brook University Career Center. On today's agenda, we will be discussing what the OCR program is, what type of employer participates in the on-campus recruiting program, which students can participate, how to get started, how to schedule an interview, and finally, we'll have a brief review of the Student Participation Agreement. So what is the on-campus recruiting program? Well, for starters, we shorten it up and call it OCR. Again, that stands for On-Campus Recruiting. And what it is an opportunity for students and recent graduates to have their first round of interviews with hiring organizations right here on campus. And it just makes it a little bit easier and more relaxed for the student. They don't have to worry about travel arrangements. And it's a nice way to feel more comfortable during the first round of interviews. So a partial list of companies who participate include Apple, Google, Target, KPMG, and there's many more than the ones that are listed here. We do update regularly, so make sure you check every day, every other day. We partner with many hiring organizations. Who can participate? So all matriculated Stony Brook University students that are currently enrolled in any major or degree program can participate, as well as any alumni up to 1 year after graduation. And why should you participate? It's a great opportunity to interview with top companies without having to leave campus. So the first step with getting started in an OCR interview is attending an OCR orientation. This will give you access to all the OCR related positions on Handshake. And again, before your OCR access is activated, you can view the jobs on Handshake. However, you cannot apply to them. So attending the OCR orientation is crucial, and you can check that off your list because this does count. The second step is agreeing to the terms in the Student Participation Agreement, which we'll go over at the end of this orientation. And it will be available at the Career Center in a hard copy, and it is also on the Stony Brook University Career Center website. Third, you have to upload at least one resume onto your Handshake account and set it as public. Fourth, you search for an OCR position and apply with your resume. Again, this is all done through Handshake. Fifth, you have to check Handshake and your emails to make sure that you don't have a notification pending, and that's where you'll see if you're selected for an interview. And lastly, once you're selected, you sign up for the interview time slot on Handshake, and you'll be ready to go. So on this slide, I'm showing you the Handshake homepage. So when you first log into your account, this is what it's going to look like. I want to point out over here in the top right corner, you'll see your name. When you click on your name, a drop-down menu will pop up where you can view your profile, user settings, and product announcements. User settings is important. That's where you'll be able to update your notification preferences. The notification preferences are very important to turn on. That is how you will know if you're selected for an interview or if a company has reached out to you for any reason. You can also view your profile on the menu bar on the left side of the page. You can click My Profile, and that's where you'll be able to upload documents such as your resume, transcript, cover letter, any supporting documents that the position you're applying to may require. And lastly, on the home page, you'll see a search bar on the top. This is where you can search for a specific company that you might have interest in. Maybe you saw a job posting and want to learn more about the company. That is where you would do that. So you just type in, let's say it was Google, you would type Google in up there. The Google profile would come up, and on that page you would be able to read a company bio, see any job postings that they have available. If they're going to be coming to campus for any event or an OCR, you'll see all of that listed on their homepage. This next slide is going to show you how to find a job or internship or volunteer opportunity. Again, this is not specific to OCR. When you click jobs or internships over here on the left menu bar, this is going to take you to a list of every job or internship offered through Handshake. So I just wanted to show you this so you would know where to go and look. Now the number 2 arrows is showing you how to narrow down your search, because again, it's going to be a huge list. It's everything offered on Handshake. So if you know you want a job or an internship or a volunteer opportunity, you would simply click the box for the type of position you would like, and that will filter out those specific jobs. So it'll make your list a little smaller and a little easier to go through. And again, you can do the same thing with the employment type section. If you know you want full-time or part-time, it'll just narrow down your list and make your search a lot easier. Now the third arrow is pointing here to match all employer preferences. When you select that box, it's going to take out all of the positions that you don't fully qualify for. So that just means that when you filled out your profile with your GPA, your career interests, your major, your school year, those are all things that companies or employers look for. So if you were to select match all employer preferences, that would mean that you have the GPA, the major, the school year that the employer put in that they wanted out of the candidate for that position. I also want to point out that if you do not match all the preferences that the employer has listed, you may still apply to the job, and we strongly encourage that you do. You will just come up in the category of not fully qualified when the employer looks through the list. And again, that does not disqualify you from the job. It just puts you in a separate category. But it's then up to the employer to look through everything you submitted. There is a chance you'll be called on for that interview. So if you have even a slight interest, please apply. Because there have been times when people that are not fully qualified do get called for the interview and end up getting the job. Number 4 up here is a folder called My Favorite Jobs. So when you click on that folder, it's going to take you to a list of jobs that you favorited. So what that means is that, let's say you just applied to a job, or you're not sure if you want to apply, but you don't want to look through this whole list again to find the specific job. There's going to be a little button that says Favorite Job. When you click that, it's going to put them all in this nice little folder, so you can go back to that at any time, and it's going to have a list of all the jobs that you favorited. So you don't have to go through the big long list again. It'll all just be right there. This slide is going to highlight how you can find an event. The Career Center hosts events that are free to all SBU students and alumni. These are really great events. There are a few different categories that I'm going to go over, but right now I just want to show you how to find them. So you would click Events from the side menu bar again. It will take you to the second page that looks like this. You would click Find Some Events, number 2, and that's going to take you to this third page that looks like this. And you'll be able to filter out the type of event you want under Event Type. So there's info session, workshops, pre-night events. There's a bunch of different categories. And again, this will just make the list a lot smaller and way more manageable for you. So the 2 types of events that I want to highlight for you here are information sessions and pre-night events. Information sessions are unlimited. You can go to as many of them as you would like, and we suggest you go to as many as you can. If you have a slight interest in the company, if you see a job posting up on Handshake and you want to go learn more about the company, maybe make a good name for yourself with the presenter, all good reasons to go to an info session. And what an info session is, it's basically companies coming to the campus to talk to you, the student, about the company's culture, available positions. So again, you don't want to miss this opportunity should you see one that you're interested in. Now, the pre-night event is different than the info session in the fact that it's exclusive to students who are asked to interview with the company that's presenting. So information sessions, anyone can go to, and they're open events. Pre-night events are exclusive. Pre-night events happens when a company is coming for an OCR, and they invite those students that they have chosen to interview to come learn more about the company. It's usually the night before the actual interview. The presenter will know if you're not there, so we do highly recommend that you attend those events. Otherwise, at the interview the next day, it's going to be a little awkward when the presenter asks you where you were, why you weren't present. You better have a good excuse for not going. It's a great networking opportunity, both of them, the info session and pre-night events. So it's just a big recommendation that you attend those. So now we're finally going to get into how to find a company that's coming to do an OCR interviewing session. So with this, the first step is clicking on-campus interviews under the Job and Interview tab on the left menu bar. When you click on on-campus interviews, this page will come up. So here you'll see a timeline status, interview type, and a list of the companies that are coming. So if you want to filter through to positions that you can actually apply to, under timeline status, you can click in application period, and this will filter out the positions that are actually available to apply to. And I just want to clarify that this list on the side is not a list of jobs, but it's a list of companies that are coming to interview on campus. So the number 3 over here is showing room only or pre-select. The difference between the room only and pre-select interview types is that the pre-select schedule is done completely through Handshake. So you'll interview for the job on Handshake, you will be contacted by the company through Handshake, and finally you'll set up your interview time slot through Handshake. Room only, you'll apply through Handshake, but after that, everything will be done through the actual employer. So the employer will contact you and tell you you've been selected for an interview, and then they will set up the actual interview. However they do it, through phone or email, but it will not be done through Handshake. However, with both of them, the actual interview will still be held on campus in the Career Center. So the end result is the same, it's just a different process to getting to the interview. Number 4 is pointing to the interview type and the interview date. So if you look at the last thing listed under the company that's going to be coming to campus, you'll see either pre-select or room only. So that's another way to quickly look and see which type of schedule it is. And the first thing the arrow is pointing at is the date of the interview. So again, this is the date of the interview when the company will be coming to campus. So the date highlighted right here is February 7th of 2017. So if looking at that, you know that you're busy on that date, we recommend that you do not apply to this position because that is the date and it's not going to change. So if you cannot make that interview, again, please don't apply to the position. We cannot change the date for you. And we will go over the no-show later, but it's bad if you don't show up after you apply and say that you are going to show up. So if you can't make this date, there are other ways if you're still interested in the position to apply. You can go through their career website, or you can try contacting the person listed on the actual job posting and asking if there's any way to go around that or a different day that you can interview. But again, if you can't make that date, please don't apply. So as I mentioned before, there is a timeline of events that will come up on Handshake. This is important to pay attention to. It will show you the current status of the application period, the apply and end date for the application to the job, and then the primary and alternate sign-up dates for the actual interview. So this date shows you here that applications started on August 2nd and applications for the position will end on October 15th. If you miss those cutoff dates, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. We cannot submit your resume for you. So this is why it's important to have notifications turned on and to be checking jobs regularly. Next, you'll see here the primary sign-up and alternate sign-up. So what happens after you apply is the company will get in contact with you and you'll either be told you're a primary or an alternate candidate. Primary candidates, as listed here, are able to sign up a week earlier than alternate candidates. A primary student just means that you were chosen as someone the company is extremely interested in and wants to interview. An alternate is someone that they were very interested in, but unfortunately they didn't have enough spots to interview everyone, so they would like to see you should a primary not be able to attend. Let's say there were 10 interview time slots. 10 primaries were chosen and 5 alternates were chosen. So October 17th comes around and 2 primaries didn't have notifications on, so they didn't know that they should start applying. So that leaves 8 primaries signed up and 2 open slots. So now it's Tuesday, October 25th, and the students that were alternates are sitting at their computer waiting to sign up. So 2 of the alternates get to sign up for those available time slots, because how it works is first come, first serve. So unfortunately, 3 alternates didn't get a spot, and those 2 primaries didn't get a spot. So now the timetable is full. So as a primary, you might think, well, I'm going to call the Career Center and say, hey, I didn't get a spot. And unfortunately, we're going to tell you you weren't paying attention to the timeline, and you were, you missed the sign-up period. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. You weren't paying attention, somebody else was, and they got the spot. So make sure your notification preferences are turned on, and make sure you're paying attention to that timeline, because it's very important. And again, this will only take place in a pre-select schedule, because room only will be done through the actual employer. So this is what the pre-select schedule is going to look like. So are the times available to interview. So let's say you are available between 10 and 11 and it's an open slot. You would simply click on this. Your name will pop up. You'll hit submit, and that's how you will be in for your interview. So this is where you will actually apply to the positions. So again, when you click on campus interviews from the left side menu bar, that is a list of interviews, not jobs. So when you click on that company, it will say, to apply to this interview schedule, you must qualify and apply through one of the associated jobs. So you would apply by either clicking the top bar. This is going to be on the top right side, says apply. Or you can scroll down to the bottom of the page where it will say related jobs, and there'll be a list of jobs associated with the interview schedule. So you can click on all the jobs listed, learn more about each position, and finally apply to the one you're interested in. In order to participate in any recruiting-related event or program through Stony Brook University's Career Center, you must adhere to the ethical standards established by the Career Center and agree to abide by the policies. I'm going to briefly go through a few of the major points, and again, you can find the whole thing either on the website or from the Career Center. So the first thing I want to point out is that you give permission to the Career Center and its affiliated intermediaries to distribute your resume and supporting materials, including your job search correspondence and transcripts. So what this basically means is that when you make your resume public, we then have the option to send it out to employers should they ask for it. And this is a great opportunity for students, as it may open a door that you didn't even know you wanted to open. So let's say, a company contacts us and they say, we want someone with this GPA and this career interest. So we filter through by what they're requiring or requesting, and your resume comes up. So we send it out to them, and you get contacted, and you had no idea you were interested in that company or that sort of position, but now they've contacted you, and you have the upper hand here. You can decide if you are interested in that position or if you're not. And it's just a really great way to maybe be open to something that you might have overlooked otherwise. Job and internship integrity. This is a very important slide. So I'm just going to read the bullets to you, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. So first, you agree not to falsify information in your Handshake account, on your resume, or any other supporting documents. In accordance with Stony Brook University policy, students who falsify information will be referred to the Office of University Community Standards. Next, you understand that if you submit a resume for a position through Handshake at a Stony Brook job or internship fair or at a Career Center related event, you acknowledge a sincere interest in the company and thus agree to attend the interview if you are selected by the employer. And lastly, you understand that scheduling an interview is a commitment. Unless a legitimate reason arises, such as personal illness, death in the family, or the acceptance of another offer, you will fulfill your commitment and show up to a scheduled interview. If you cannot attend a scheduled interview, you agree to send proper notice to the employer and Career Center at least 48 hours prior. So the first bullet here, falsifying information. This is a serious action. So a little example of that is we actually had a student who had a GPA of 3.42. The position that they were interested in required a 3.5 GPA. Now, this student didn't see any harm in rounding up and saying that he had a 3.5. The company went ahead with multiple rounds of interviews. The student ended up going to the company and getting a tour of the facility. And finally, when they were about to offer the position to the student, they asked for a copy of the unofficial transcript. The student did not see that coming, sent it over to them because there was nothing else he could do, and it was shown that he had a 3.42 actually. So the company ended up taking back the offer and coming to the Career Center staff and letting them know what happened. Again, this doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for us. It ruins reputations. It leaves a bad taste in the employer's mouth. It ruins any chance, he or you as a future student has with that company, because now they're going to say, we don't trust these Stony Brook students who lie to us. So again, it's just a whole mess. And again, you'll be referred to the Office of University Community Standards. So it's just a big mess that you don't want to get into. So it's best to just not falsify information. Be upfront with the employer. The employer did tell the student, we would have worked with you because we were interested in you, but because you lied to us, it just ruined everything. So just be mindful of how your actions will affect everyone in the future and yourself. And the last bullet, I just want to point out the 48-hour notice. Now, we don't think that's too much to ask for. We think it's very reasonable. If for any reason, let's say you accept another offer, you have a conflict with scheduling, you can't attend the interview you have scheduled, please just don't not show up to it. Give us the 48-hour notice. Nothing will happen to you if you give us the notice. What the 48 hours does is it allows us to find another student to interview in that time slot. The employer does not have to come to our campus and interview our students. The fact that they do is a great luxury for us, and we really want to keep in good terms with these employers. So again, it's not bad to cancel an interview, but please just give us the notice that we can get someone to take that slot so that the employer doesn't feel like their time has been wasted. So this slide is a continuation of the integrity portion. You understand that the consequences of canceling or not showing up for a scheduled interview are as follows. Your first no-show will result in temporary deactivation from Handshake and recruiting events until you write a letter of apology to the employer. The letter may be sent by email and must be copied to this Career Center contact. After the second interview cancellation, you will be deactivated from Handshake until you meet with a Career Center staff member to discuss possible but not guaranteed reactivation. You agree that you are held accountable to all the above policies, regardless of the source from which you found your job or internship. So not to scare you, this doesn't mean that you're held to this contract should you apply through any other means, whether it's Indeed, Idealist, Career Builder, their actual employment website. It just means that if it can be connected back to the Career Center, you should be extremely cautious, because the employers that have a close relationship with us do let us know when students are applying and what's going on, even if it's not through Handshake. So we will know about it if something major occurs, and so just be mindful of your actions and how it affects everyone else, and do know that it does get back to us. This slide highlights accepting offers. So you understand that if you receive an offer, you may continue interviewing with other employers before verbal or written acceptance of another offer. You acknowledge that once you accept an offer verbally or in writing, you are making a formal commitment to uphold your hiring obligation to that employer. You understand that continuing to interview after the acceptance of an offer is ethically wrong, and that you will discontinue your job search and interviewing once a decision has been made. You understand that reneging on an offer will result in permanent termination from Handshake, and that you will be required to meet with a Career Center staff member. So employers give students sufficient time to respond to the offer. What that means is that you don't have to answer right away. The dates that you're given are listed in the participation agreement, which again can be found on the Career Center website, or picked up as a hard copy from the Career Center. It's usually 2 weeks from the offer that you're given to respond to them, or whichever date is later. And again, those dates will be highlighted on the actual participation agreement. So the first bullet says that once you accept an offer, you're bound to that offer, and we request that you stop interviewing and don't accept any other offers. So what that means is that if you interview somewhere and they offer you the job and you don't answer right away, you tell them you need to think about it, you're free to keep interviewing or thinking about another offer. What it also means is that if they say to you, we would like to offer you this position, or they text you that, or they email you that, and you write back, verbally say back, yes, that means you now work for that employer, which means you have to stop interviewing and stop applying to other jobs, because you now have a job, you have an employer. That goes along with reneging an offer. What reneging means is that you say yes, and then 1 week, 2 weeks before, maybe even a week after you start, you take back your acceptance and you say, never mind, and a better offer came along, I don't want to work here anymore. That is reneging an offer. Again, that is really bad to do. It ruins your reputation. It ruins any chance you have of working with that employer in the future. And again, it will get back to Stony Brook Career Center, and we will take the appropriate action from there. But it's a very serious offense. Now we're going to go over the acknowledgement. So again, there's going to be a Google Doc along with this orientation. It's going to be a questionnaire and an agreement. So all you have to do is fill that out, sign it, send it back to us, and you will have completed this orientation. And from there, you'll have 24 to 48 hours to be activated in the OCR portion of Handshake. So the agreement just says that you read or listened to this entire document and that you had access to it, and basically that you know what you're getting into with on-campus recruiting. I want to go over some frequently asked questions now. Just, maybe some of you will have these questions. So this will just be a way to get these answered without you having to contact the Career Center, which of course you can always do, but these are just our most asked questions. So number 1, I am a transfer student and don't have a Stony Brook GPA yet. What do I put on my Handshake profile? The answer there is that you leave it blank. You do not put in any GPA for Stony Brook that is not your Stony Brook GPA. So you can put in under your other school that you're transferring from, you can put in that GPA under that school. But again, just don't put it in under Stony Brook because that is not your Stony Brook GPA. You can attach a cover letter outlining that that's why you don't have a GPA listed. But again, just leave your profile blank because you don't want to get into any falsifying information trouble. Number 2, if I apply through the interview tab, do I still need to apply to the job posting? Now, we get this question a lot, and as I pointed out during this orientation, the interview tab is not the job posting. That's the interview schedule. So yes, you can click on the schedule, but you don't apply to the schedule, you're applying to the job. So when you click apply in the top corner or click apply from the actual position listed at the bottom of the page, that's taking you to the job posting. So you've now applied to the position which is attached to the interview. Number 3, can I start applying to interviews on campus immediately after this orientation? The answer to that is no. You have to fill out the Google Doc and send it back to the Career Center, and after that, you'll have up to 48 hours to be activated. Once you're activated, you can start applying to interviews on campus. Number 4, can I contact someone from the company regarding my application? With that question, you can contact someone from the company as long as there is a contact listed on the job posting or the company's profile. We cannot give out information of our contacts, so unless there is one listed, you can't contact them. But if there is someone listed, go right ahead, and we suggest you take advantage of that, get them to know your name, show them your interest. That can only help you in the long run. Number 5, if I miss the application deadline, can I contact someone from the Career Center to submit my resume? As I mentioned during the orientation, we take the timeline very seriously. and we cannot submit your resume after the deadline has passed. We want it to be fair to all students. So really turn on your notification preferences and make sure you're paying attention to the jobs you're really interested in. I'm going to leave you with some helpful hints. So the Career Center offers students mock interviews, resume reviews, career counseling, handshake help, a whole bunch of other services. So make sure you're stopping in. We're in the basement of the Melville Library. And everyone is friendly here. Any questions you may have, feel free to come in and ask us. Or on the bottom here, we have the website linked, our phone number, or our contact email. So please call us, email us, stop in and visit for any reason. Again, we offer the mock interviews, which would help you prepare for an interview coming up. Resume reviews would help you get your resume into tip-top shape to start handing out to employers at job fairs or submitting on Handshake. And not only do our career counseling staff have resume reviews, but outside employers actually come to our campus and host resume reviews for students as well. So you can check that out on the events page of the Career Center website, and that will show you which companies are coming to campus to go over resumes with students. And then career counseling and Handshake help go hand in hand. You can come in and speak with a career counselor about any questions you may have about Handshake or any questions you may have about your future career. Please take advantage of the services offered by the Career Center, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Good luck!